Welcome back, everybody.
Welcome back to another episode of Spritz and Chips. Sorry we missed last week and the week before, but we were traveling, so we're back to normal programming, and we are super excited to do another segment. If you're new here, welcome. Spritz and Chips is basically a series that we do together, Hunter and I, since my husband, and kind of like have it be like a cocktail hour where you're just catching up with friends. We talk about literally anything. It can be requested topics, it can be like news or like celebrity or relationship advice.
But more than anything, it's just more like a chat between us, between like what's going on in our life, and just things that also people write in each week. We get a lot of requests, so we chat about those different topics.
Yes.
And just a reminder of all those who've been watching it, but also for those who are just now starting to watch it. The whole idea behind Spritz and Chips is, like she said, more of like a chit chat session, but we like to have some kind of cocktail and some kind of snack. So our snack today is actually rosemary chips, which I'll get here in just a little bit. And rosemary chips are what actually inspired Spritz and Chips from the very beginning.
Yes.
And then the cocktail today, we're actually having two different cocktails. The first time we've had separate cocktails. She is having a jalapeno margarita that she whipped up. We make these quite a bit. And also I am making something called Pimm's. It's a popular drink in the UK around Wimbledon time frame. So it seemed like a summer European drink. So yeah, I'll show you how to make that really quick. So typically it's like berries. So any kind of like strawberry or blackberry or blueberry with some lemon. You have Pimm's #1, which is actual liqueur that I'm using today, and it's about 1/4 Pimm's, so I'll just kind of eyeball that, and then about 3/4 Sprite or some kind of lemonade or lemon lime soda. So I'm using Sprite, it's the most convenient, and what was at our local grocery store. So there you go. And I'm just gonna stir it around just a little bit, and Julia got me this little small yellow straw. So I have blueberries, lemon, and peach in here, and then I have 3/4 Sprite and 1/4 of Pimm's #1. If you can see that. I don't know if you can see that or not, but yeah, that's the drink.
Tastes like Sprite with a little like
it's like a like I said, it's like a European summer drink, and so it's like refreshing, almost kind of like
like sangria,
like a yeah,
or like an Arnold Palmer, or like,
yeah, it's just like a light, like refreshing drink.
Yeah. So just one other thing quickly before we like dive into today's topics. So the name Spritz and Chips, by the way, probably wondering what the heck that is, but when we went to Europe a couple of years ago with my sister and her husband, shout out to them, Nicola and Dan, we miss you guys. They actually live in Europe now, but we traveled to Europe with them to Italy, and we fell in love with Aperol Spritz, which is like a really popular European drink, and it's popular in the US now too, but we loved it. And every day in Europe we would have happy hour and we would have Spritz, and they would always serve rosemary potato chips or like regular potato chips with our drinks. So Spritz and Chips just became like a little term, and then Hunter and I wanted to start this series, and we thought Spritz and Chips was like the perfect name, just because that's exactly what it is. So it won't be a Spritz every time, but it'll be some sort of cocktail. And yeah, that's kind of it. It's just supposed to be festive and fun and super casual. So if you have topics for next episode, please request them down below, or you can send me a direct message. If you don't want to comment them here, you can comment on an Instagram photo, whatever you want. I should probably put this down so we don't stare at it. Ooh, got the chips. Okay, perfect.
So these are our rosemary chips.
So today we are going to talk a lot about career. You know, I have like a lot of like college age people that watch my videos, and a lot of people that are probably like starting out in their career or getting like their first job or something like that. So I put up a video recently all about my job. It was a week in my life as a social media manager. So I actually work for Sephora. Most of you guys should probably know that, but if you're new, that's what I do for my full-time job outside of YouTube. And I do a lot of social media for them, and also like influencer management and stuff like that. So I'll link that video down below. You guys can check out like a week in my life of my job. So I put that video up, and I got a lot of questions coming out of that, and we just thought that we definitely get a lot of questions about like career and jobs and stuff like that. So we thought that we would just make today all about like how to get a job out of college, our experiences, getting into like the professional world, and our like tips for you guys. So
I think the first part is like choosing a school. Like that that's how we met, first of all, like choosing the right school. But
first things first, we'll dial it back all the way to high school and kind of like how you even pick a college, how if you don't know what you want to do, you're literally lost, you have no idea. Just from literally start all the way till now, we're like been a couple of years out of college. So
Julia is actually a grade above me. If we go back to the very beginning, she's a grade above me in high school.
Yes, but Hunter is older than me, like age-wise. So
yeah, I was old for my grade. She's young for her grade, so I'm a little bit older, but she was a grade above me. Anyways, after you graduated high school, you went to LA for fashion school for FITM. All right.
Yes. So I really wanted to get into fashion. I loved fashion and all things fashion industry when I was in high school, and I was like, I know I want to go to fashion school right when I leave high school. So I knew I wanted to go to FITM. This was around the time that like The Hills was really popular, and she had gone to FITM, and that's how I found out about it. So
I actually didn't know that.
So I directly just went there after high school. And quickly after a year down there, I realized that I wanted a more traditional experience.
And you were like 17 at the time. You were pretty young.
I was young, yeah. It was just like a really small art school. It was kind of hard to meet people. It was really tiny. And I just wanted that normal college experience. I really wanted to be like, I wanted to fit in. I wanted to join a sorority, go to football games, all that good stuff. So that's when I actually moved home and started going to a junior college so that I could kind of get my grades up and figure out what my next move was gonna be.
During that same time, while she was at FITM in LA at 17 years old, I was 17, 18, a senior in high school, still like, you know, small town Texas, football, all that kind of stuff. Not really knowing where I was going to go to college, but you know, a few friends of mine and myself, we decided we were going to go to a school down in South Texas. So I went to a school called Texas State, which is south of Austin. It's a pretty big school, but just like out in the hill country. Anyway, so I was there. Julia was in junior college in like your hometown area, right? And then the following year, both her and I transferred into TCU. We didn't know each other, nothing like that. We actually moved into the same apartment complex and lived on the same floor, down the hall, like, I don't know how many rooms away, but we were on the same floor of the same apartment complex.
We never met.
Never met for the whole first year, and met the following year. And that's when we kind of started like dating and all that kind of stuff. We can kind of tell that story later on in another Spritz and Chips or something, but we both had changed our majors a few times. At this point in time, you were majoring in strategic communications.
Yes.
What was your like whole transfer?
That's actually a lot of people asked me what I majored in order to get the job that I have now for as a social media manager. And I was a strategic communications major, which was basically at my school a mix of like marketing, journalism, PR, and advertising. So I kind of just learned like how to write a little bit, kind of how marketing different brands was gonna work, different creative advertising methods, stuff like that. But it was really just like kind of an all-around marketing major. That was really great, but I don't think that you need to major in that exact field if that's what you want to go into. I didn't know what I wanted to do at all, but I just liked that major and I thought it was really like general and would apply to a lot of industries.
Yeah, and I transferred into TCU as a communications major, knowing that was like the easiest way probably to get into TCU, and I also didn't really know what I wanted to do at the time. I always thought I was going to be in business, but just not really sure of where I was going to be suited by any means. I always thought I was going to be in sales, but there's no sales major, so I thought communications would be a good thing to pursue. But I switched to neuroscience, thinking I wanted to be some kind of brain doctor. That was like way beyond my ability, I guess you could say. But I then switched to psychology. I really enjoyed like understanding why people, you know, do the things they do or why they act the way they act, whether it's like child development and like why someone becomes the way they are, all that kind of stuff. And I thought that could help me like from a sales perspective. Once I got, you know, out of out of college, like, you know, understanding who I'm talking to and how to get some kind of point across and communicate with them best.
Yeah, so sorry, just to dial back. So in order to kind of help you figure out what school you want to go to, I think my best piece of advice for choosing which school you want to attend. So for me, like when I went to fashion school, I knew right away, like it didn't feel like the right fit, just something was off. And so I took that time to just like go back home, figure out what I wanted. And I'd always had this fascination for the South, and I was so curious about the lifestyle. So you guys know, most of you, if you are watching my channel consistently, I actually came to Texas for college, and that's how I met Hunter at school. So I left California to go out of state for college, and I think that is seriously the best thing that you could ever do. If you have any desire to like go somewhere else, or if you're interested in another lifestyle, definitely apply to a college that is out of state. I think it was honestly the best thing I ever did for like my self-development, my growth as a person, my maturity, responsibility, everything.
No one's gonna know what they want to do, so I don't want to say it's important to know what you want to do, but it's important to like identify some kind of passion. So like Julia, she came to the South. She didn't come to TCU to come to TCU. She came to TCU because she wanted to come to a school in the South.
And I came to visit a ton, and TCU was like a little bit smaller. It felt like I could handle it for making such a big move away from home, and I was like, it still feels quaint and kind of small, so I felt comfortable. And it was definitely an adjustment over time, but it made me really independent and like just totally grow up, and I really like appreciate that. And it was fun to like be somewhere completely different and fun to be away from home. You just like totally come into your own and you become an adult, and it's like the funnest thing ever. So definitely would consider that. If you're thinking about it, this is a sign you like need to go for it.
Yeah, and I guess that desire to go somewhere else was partly fulfilled when we moved to San Francisco for my job, and like I pursued that out of comfort experience. And it's definitely like a huge growth time for sure. Like whether it's going to school somewhere else or going to get a job somewhere else, or internships, which we'll get into here in a little bit. But yeah, it's like, you know, go somewhere else that puts you out of your comfort zone and allows you to learn a new culture and understand new people and open your mind up to something new, like whether it's just an experience itself or like someone's beliefs or morals or whatever that might be.
Totally.
Definitely like changes things and like just opens your mind and understanding of other cultures. Like
compassion.
Yeah, just like, you know, makes you aware, and I think the awareness itself is great. But around like choosing the school, it's important to identify something, not necessarily what you want to do, not necessarily what your passions are, maybe one of those two things, maybe both. But maybe it's like you want to have some kind of feeling of discomfort, like go for it. Go
or
to
maybe
New York,
like you live in the mountains and you are like, I would love to be by the beach. Then apply to a coastal school and go live by the beach. Just it could be as little as that, or as extreme as like, I want to learn like what it is to be on the East Coast or whatever.
Just get out of your comfort zone.
So next, I think we should talk about like how to pick your major and how to choose like what you want to study, because a lot of people ask me about that. Like, how did you decide what you wanted to study? How did that help you get into your job and all that stuff? So in terms of choosing your major, I came in, actually started as a fashion major, and then I realized that I felt like that was a little bit niche, and I wanted to go into fashion my entire life. But once I got into college, I realized like maybe this is a little bit too specific, and I kind of just felt this like feeling that I wanted to learn more of like the marketing and business side of the industry. So that's when I decided to shift and go to strategic communications, like I said earlier, and I learned kind of like a 360 view of marketing, like from journalism's perspective, PR, advertising, all that stuff.
It's more rare that someone graduates high school knowing exactly what they want to do and they stick to that. Because I think you develop a lot once you graduate high school and you go into college and you start to like find yourself, and you're like away from your family and away from parents and just out of your comfort zone, like I said earlier. And so you start to figure out like exactly what you want to do, and you know, find passions that you didn't know existed. But I would say like the biggest tip that I would recommend is find a major that ties in with the classes that you actually truly enjoy. So like once you get to school, like, hey, like maybe you have some major of like something like communications like I had originally, and you start to like take different classes, and maybe take, like for me, I took a psychology class, and I even knew like, you know, in high school I liked psychology. When I took it in college, I was like, you know what, I really enjoy this a lot. I'm most interested in this. Like I'm pretty sure I'm ADD. It's hard for me to pay attention. I'm all over the place a lot of times. What?
You say
I, for some reason, like when I was in psychology classes, I just like was focused. I really enjoyed listening to like the professors speak on different topics, whether it's memory and cognition or you know, child behavior, child development, or behavioral psychology, or whatever it was. Like I really enjoyed focusing and paying attention. Like that's where I had most engagement like in a class. And so I was like, you know what, let's just change this psychology. And then maybe it's not something you're like, I want to be a psychologist. Like for me, I didn't want to be a psychologist, but I was able to take like, you know, pick and choose different things from each course or each class and apply those to like, you know, what I wanted to pursue.
This should just be your segment.
No.
That's so cute. Like you like love it and you like talk so much.
I'm done.
No. I love her so much. It's so cute. I just really was thinking like, it's so cute. Laughing. Okay, never mind. I won't laugh. Okay, yes. So for picking your major, I would say just find something that you're passionate about. Maybe like you dream of being like a CEO one day, but you love like your art classes and you like, or you love history. Like just choose what you're passionate about and what you like are naturally the most interested in, because that's going to make you successful in your major, which in the long run will help you with your career.
And honestly, major doesn't matter either.
It does not matter.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really doesn't. Probably like for like accounting.
What was the major you graduated with?
Strategic
Can't
communications.
even say it. It's great communications. You can't even say our major.
Strategic communications, the mix of PR, journalism, and advertising. It's basically just like a marketing
Did you have a minor?
major. My minor was art.
Yeah. So I was a psychology major with an emphasis on business and an entrepreneurship minor. So
Yeah.
tied in together. And like what she was saying, maybe you want to be like a CEO, but you want to really pursue like the arts. So maybe you take a class in college, something like I took, which was entrepreneurship of the arts, and it's like a way to like become a CEO or a business owner of like in the art industry or whatever that might be.
Yeah.
So pretty cool.
And if you don't know like what you're interested in, don't panic. A lot of people don't know, and you just need to throw yourself in there. Don't like become lazy or tap out or be like, I don't know what I want to do. Just find something that you're like semi-interested in, and it might not be what you end up in, but you've got to just get in there, start trying. You're never going to know what you like unless you start trying a bunch of different stuff. So just get in there, get your hands dirty,
Don't be scared.
and you'll find it. Yeah. Okay, so now how should you start networking and kind of preparing for when you graduate college, because it can be kind of crazy thinking about like what kind of job you need to get. So
Number one thing, and I'm chiming in to start this, is because this is something I didn't necessarily know, but I lucked out and kind of stumbled into this, which is internships.
Mm-hmm.
So my first internship was one summer. I got it. I didn't even think of it. I didn't really like pursue an internship. I was just pursuing like summer work. And I ended up working for some healthcare company and just like a summer like sales associate type position with them. But after we met, our junior year of college, the summer after our junior year, so the summer right before going into senior year, her sister was working at a tech company in San Francisco, and started chatting with her about getting some kind of internship, and yeah, pursued that and ended up getting it. I think she actually helped start the program, so I was one of the first interns there. And so it was a really good experience just helping to develop like what the internship program looked like, but also just like from my perspective, like learning a lot of the industry and the way things worked out in San Francisco, and more like the startup world and the technology space. And then on top of that, like being like having a sales job, which is what I'm in now. So getting like kind of like a taste of that from the get-go before I go into my senior year, and really to develop like exactly what I want to pursue. And same goes for you, like internship wise, like it's incredibly important to get an internship in college.
Totally. And it also helps you figure out kind of, again, what you like, what you don't like. So I know like Hunter had an internship he didn't really like. I had one I liked, one I didn't like, and it definitely helps you kind of like weed things out. So keep your eyes and ears out. Like I know I had friends that like their fraternity brothers, like their dad gave them their buddies like an internship, or girlfriends who interned for their friend's sister, friend's brother's company. And I got my first internship was at Sephora actually, through my older sister. She actually, like Sephora was one of her clients, and she had a really good relationship with their team and asked if there was any internship opportunities. So it's all kind of just like word of mouth and the connections.
Benefit too, right?
Yeah, and then after that I did an internship with Benefit Cosmetics, and that was also through a connection that she had. So just, you know, if you have older people in your life, like siblings or friend siblings or parents, just ask around, say, hey, what kind of opportunities, if you know what they do, just ask.
And even like just legitimately seek an internship. Like ask like, hey, do y'all have an internship program? Or know anyone with internships or people looking to hire interns? I'm, you know, excited to pursue something like that in this specific industry, and just kind of have an idea of what you want. But one of your questions were like, how do I get into your industry? What was the exact question?
Let's see. What recommendations do you have for breaking into the industry after graduating college with no prior experience other than sales associate? So that's where
well, yeah, I was gonna say one thing because we were talking about internships like during college.
Yeah.
But I also want to add that it's never too late to get an internship either. So even after you graduate college, maybe you go and get a job for a year. The easiest way into a company is to pursue an internship program. Like get in as an intern, and then you usually work there as an intern for 2 months, and they hire you full time. So
totally.
I like, just if I was to answer that question, I would say, hey, don't be scared to go ask for an internship at a company, even if you're a year or two out of college, because it shows that, hey, they're willing to take a step back in their mind, like take a step back from having a full-time job back to an internship.
Yeah.
But in the real scheme of things, you're actually taking a couple steps forward in terms of the career path and like the direction you want to pursue.
Guys, you just gotta get in there. It doesn't matter how, but like if you really want to get into a company, there's no positions open, you're scared, you feel like you don't have the experience, apply for an internship position, or if there's no internship spots available, find the department that you want to work in, go find the people on LinkedIn, reach out to them on Instagram, reach out to them on Twitter, on email, and just blow them up and be like, I'm your girl, I'm your guy, like you need me, I will do anything it takes to get this internship, and be assertive. Just follow up, follow up, follow up.
Julie,
don't be afraid.
She did that with Reward Style actually. She reached out a couple times saying like, do you have internships? Do you have jobs? Do you have internships? And you had a couple responses just like slightly, and then you ended up having someone reach out to you saying like, hey, we actually have an internship spot available, like come work for us.
Totally.
Julia did. She was there for like 2 or 3 months and got hired full time. So
yeah. Okay, so tips for breaking into the industry if you have no prior experience. So I didn't have any prior experience really either. So let me kind of tell you my career journey. So when I graduated college, let me do this quickly. I didn't know what I wanted to do, and actually at the time I was watching a ton of YouTube, and that's when I was like, I want to start a YouTube channel.
How old were you at this time?
I was 21.
But you always had a desire and a passion for YouTube. You used to make like little YouTube videos with your friends.
I like loved YouTube, but I didn't have the courage to start a YouTube channel. So it was just kind of a dream, but YouTube was originally why I got so interested in makeup, and I really wanted to go into artistry and all that stuff. So right when I graduated, I was like, okay, I don't know what I want to do, so I'm gonna go work at the Mac counter, because I really wanted to learn about makeup and artistry, and I loved it. So I went to work there, got so much experience doing makeup, but it was technically like a retail job at the Mac in Nordstrom. And it was so much fun. It was kind of hard, it was kind of stressful, but I knew that I needed to like move on eventually, but I just wasn't sure what I wanted to do yet. So it was kind of like a placeholder job, and I learned a lot. So then I actually got connected with like a group of friends through church actually, and that's when I found out about blogging and the whole blogging world, and how people use like social media and YouTube and Instagram and their blogs to make
support
money.
Like their income and everything like that. So.
Yes. So they told me about a company called Reward Style, which is Like to Know It on Instagram, if you guys are familiar with that. A lot of bloggers use it so that they can like link all of the items that they're wearing in their outfits online. And my friends were all bloggers and they were like, you should totally work for that company, it would be great. And I was really interested in it, so I was like, cool, sure. So I emailed them just blind. Literally, I looked up the girl from the HR department on LinkedIn. Like these girls like knew the company, but I just like went and approached it myself. And I emailed the HR person and I said, hey, do you have any internship opportunities available? I really want to work for you guys. And she was like, no, there's nothing open there's nothing open right now. Sorry, so sorry I can't help you. So I was like, darn it, there's nothing open. Well, 2 weeks later, she randomly emailed me and goes,
you emailed a couple people after that though.
Yeah, I reached out to a couple people and they were all like, no. So I was like, okay, it's not happening. She literally emailed me randomly 2 weeks later and was like, hey, someone just randomly quit today and we have an internship spot open and we want to bring you in for an interview. And I was like, okay,
and they saw that she had like interned at
Sephora
and Benefit and had previously worked at Mac, and so like, okay, she has a beauty background, like let's check her out.
And I
also
worked at
because she
Nordstrom.
was reaching out, like we said earlier, like
yeah,
reach
put yourself
out there, and maybe you're like the next on the list, which truly happened to be.
Totally. So it was like, game on, let's go. So I went in for the interview. I was terrified, and I was just super nice to the girl. Like we totally connected. She was young, and yeah, I got the internship. So then when I got in there, I just loved it so much. Like I was definitely like super shy and nervous, but I just put myself out there, asked everyone to lunch. I like tried to make friends with everyone that was there. I tried to learn as much as I could.
That was a really good job too.
It was such a good job. I didn't really make a lot of money, but I learned everything about the blogging world. So that's where I started to, eventually I got a full-time position and I started to give bloggers strategy on how to like grow their sites and grow their Instagrams and stuff like that. So that's when I learned all about that industry. But then Hunter and I decided to move to California for his job. Yep. And that's when I got out there and I realized, okay, one, I want to start my YouTube channel now after learning all the sides of the industry. I decided I was really gonna go for it. And two, I was like, what am I gonna do for my like job to like bring in money for our family? So that's when I was like, well, I interned at Sephora. Let me reach back out to my boss that I had from the internship and just see how she's doing. Let's see if there's any opportunities open. Like we had a good relationship back then. So I just sent her an email and we connected. She found kind of a spot for me. Yeah. And there wasn't technically a position open.
At that point in time, like 3 or 4 years had passed, so she had also like risen in the company as well.
Yeah, she was in a totally different position. Yep. She was actually running the department for Sephora Collection, which is the brand that I work for now. So she was like, well, what's your background? What have you been working on? I'm like, well, I've been working in the blogging industry with influencers. And at the time, she was like, okay, well, what have you, I don't have anything open. She was a merchant traditionally, so, which is kind of like a buyer, and that was not really what I was interested in. So she was like, I don't have anything open in that kind of area, but like, what have you been doing the past couple of years? And I was like, I've been working with influencers. I work in the blogging world. Like I know everything there is to know about that. And she was like, okay, I have an idea, like stay tuned. So she reached out to me and said that she wanted me to interview with the marketing team because they were starting to work with influencers barely, but they didn't really know what they were doing. So I went in for an interview and I just told them, I was just telling myself, and like, I was like, hey, I love everything makeup. I know tons about this industry because I've worked in it previously for my first job, and they thought that that was super unique, that I had that experience and kind of learned about the blogging industry, which a lot of people hadn't really known about yet. And they thought that was like totally an asset to the team. So there's not, but not to say that if you don't have experience, like you can't get yourself in there. Just as long as like you could even get into like a social media department if like you are really active on social media and you know everything there is to know about Twitter, Pinterest, Instagram.
Volunteer to go run some companies like Instagram account for like, you know,
for free,
for a summer for free, or for like a small like minimum like wage or whatever that is. Like just
get the experience.
Yeah, get the experience and go, or even go like just be a part of a marketing team and then slowly transition into like a different department within the marketing team. So like start just like content marketing and switch over to like the influencer side of things. And yeah, it's like pretty easy to switch internally in the company once you get in. So just like get your foot in the door and then like let your desires flow from that.
Totally. So when I got into my job, like I honestly was like terrified because I'm like, oh my gosh, maybe they think I know more than I do. Like I wasn't sure, and it ends up that I did add a lot of value to the team. But this industry for influencers and bloggers and stuff like that is really new. So there's so much opportunity in this space. If you guys are interested in it, there's a lot to learn, and a lot of companies that don't have like a department
and
for
a lot
that.
of people like that are our age. So I would say millennials, I guess, but like really the age from like 21 to 30, probably in that range. It's a really sought after age because that age group really understands the whole social media world, Instagram. They get it naturally. It's not something that you necessarily have to like go learn. Like you just get it, and so put yourself out there and make something happen.
Totally.
Hey everybody, so the camera died, but while the battery was charging, we went and showered, got ready for bed, got in our pajamas. But that is the end of the video. We really hope you enjoyed. Give us a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, but please leave us some comments down below. We are really interested to know what you would like us to talk about on Spritz and Chips next week. But yeah, go follow my wifey on Instagram. She's killing it right now on the fashion side of things, home decor, makeup, beauty, all that kind of good stuff. Can't say the same about myself, but yeah, we love you guys. Really appreciate you following along, and looking forward to seeing you next time. Bye.